Welcome everybody coming in. Can't actually see. Okay. Hi everyone. Good to see you again. We're waiting to admit a few more people. Please could you, while we're letting people in, introduce yourselves in the chat and where you come from. Also, what drew you here today? Was it curiosity, connection, or continuity from the sessions that we've already done, or something else? I'll put that in the chat. Welcome everybody. I've popped something in the chat for you to introduce yourself, where you come from, and let us know what drew you here today with a few prompts, or you can make up your own. Right. Welcome, welcome. Anybody who's just come in, please introduce yourself and where you've come from, and let us know what's drawn you here today.
Here because I love this stuff. Nice.
That's a great one.
And some names we recognize from earlier sessions. Welcome back.
Welcome, welcome. So I've popped in the chat, asked people to introduce themselves and let us know where you're coming from and what's drawn you here today. Are we slowing down in terms of the people coming in? Should we make a start? How's it looking, June?
I think we can start, yeah.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Adrian. So I'm Gemma Buckland and I run a community interest company in the UK called Justice Futures, and I'm interested in REM from a how do we map change at a systems level, and came together with June and Anna and some other people who sadly can't be with us today, to hold space for some conversations about how we might use REM more extensively, including to map networks. Let June and Anna introduce themselves.
Okay, I guess I'm June Holly, and sort of the grandmother of network weaving. And I'm here because I think ripple effect mapping has tremendous potential, particularly for networks, to help us really identify all the fabulous things that happen in networks that are sometimes, a little bit hard to see. So I'm just helping out today.
And I'm Anna Bartel. I work as an independent consultant, sort of between higher education and community, doing a lot of work on land justice these days. I am also part of this team. I suppose I'm perhaps the most intense ripple effects mapping junkie within our team. I trained with Deborah Hanson and Laura Higgins, who are two of the founders of it, and have been offering trainings and programming and whatnot for quite a while on this. So always eager to talk. I'm going to drop my LinkedIn and email at some point in the chat and welcome people reaching out. I'm also going to put, you've seen there's a recording of an introduction to ripple effects mapping that I dropped into the chat now. And there's a few more resources that I've developed over the years that I will stick in here too, in case those help you in your own practice. Take it away, Gemma.
Thanks, Anna. I'm going to hand over to Adrian now. We're very grateful to the support of Phyto in bringing us into their festival and hopefully spreading the ripple even further. So I'm going to hand over to Adrian now.
Thanks, Gemma. Just a show of hands, who has been only at the Networks Festival this year? So it's anybody who's only joined the Networks Festival as opposed to other feature activities. So if you've joined only the festival, can you raise your hand right now? Or are we all kind of old veterans of Phyto? Okay, Erica and you. Okay, Jenny, Ricky, Lisa. Okay, welcome to Phyto Zeth as well. And then for the others, I'm curious which other Phyto spaces you've been in before. I just wanted to give you a bit of a broader context around Phyto. So right now, as you can see, we are here at the Networks Festival. It's an annual gathering. It always brings in a lot of energy. And we've realized that sometimes this energy dies down. So, you know, people just join the sessions and then nothing happens afterwards. So this year we've made quite a significant change by creating these tracks, right? So ripple effect mapping, but also others like healing-centered leadership or technology for collaboration. And we're really looking to create a continuity for all of these groups. So these 6 groups are, after the festival for 1 or 2 months, going to do some deeper sensing into everything that's emerged during the festival sessions. And then they're going to put together a experiment that you can continue to engage in. We don't really know the shape and form of those experiments. And today's session is really this listening around, you know, what do we want to continue around ripple effects mapping. There's also many other things going on. For example, we have Phyto dinners in different cities. We have our WhatsApp community group. We have a Weaving for Change map where we do system sensing. And all of this here is in the Commons space. So this is probably the most likely space you've been participating in if you've been at the festival or some few events or something like that. And I want to name 2 more things. So we're kind of working on what we call the topic crossroads, because like obviously you are interested in REM, maybe you're into other topics related to networks and systems change. So we're really looking at making it easier to find your way into this broader ecosystem. And as you can see, we have like 20 different groups and activities on shifting philanthropy, on governance and networks. Here is the Ripple Lake, right, about our kind of community on RIM. We have stuff on storytelling, decolonization and equity, systems and network mapping. So lots of stuff going on. And I think one awareness that I want to build is that we want to, you know, create much more visibility and make it a lot more easy for you to find your way into the network. And part of that is also this welcome zone. So in order to really stay up to date with what's happening in Phyto and find your way into the network, it's going to be important for you to sign up to the network. I'm going to drop the link in a moment here. You will receive, in any case, updates on the ripple effects mapping community of practice because you've signed up to these events. So you can expect in 2 whatever months an invitation around that. But if you want to, you know, connect with the wider community and all the other things that are going on, I encourage you to sign up here on this website. It's a bit more at the bottom. It's hard to find, but many people find it and go through this form. It's going to take you 10 to 15 minutes because it's also going to go into, you know, what are your interests, and we want to make sure that the network is really relevant for you. And yeah, I think that's it from my side. And I think just again, to repeat, we're looking at around 2 months of designing, and now this session is really about sensing and listening around, you know, what do you want out of this community and what would be meaningful for your REM practice. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Gemma. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Adrian. It's amazing to see how much the Phyto network is growing and the sorts of things that you're offering. I love it. It's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so this session, back to today, this session we're going to focus on imagining together the future of our shared learning around the practice of REM in networks or for networks. So we're interested in what are you seeking moving forward and how we can support that, how we can collectively support that as a group of people who've been involved in these Phyto sessions. We're using the term community of practice loosely. We're really open to in terms of what it might become. We just feel as though there's some momentum going and we don't want to lose that. So we want to think about what are the possibilities for ongoing collaboration. So we're going to break into some groups now to think about that in a little bit more detail together. So we'd like you to break into groups of 3. And Anna is putting the questions in the chat, but introduce yourselves again in the group. How, if at all, are you already using REM? What's next for you in your REM practice? What else would you hope to learn, gain, or build? And what challenges do you foresee around doing that? And then where do you see energy and alignment within your group or with it as a methodology, or what does it offer you and the networks that you're involved in? And then what forms of ongoing collaboration would you be excited to show up for? And what feels ripe for testing? What would you like to have a go at? What would you like to see happen as a result of us coming together over the last few weeks to think in more detail about how we might use and apply REM?
And this is a really good chance for you to get to know others in your group. So take your time in introducing yourself and, you know, just sharing a little bit personal about yourself, not just work stuff.
Thanks, June. Thanks for that reminder.
Yes, yes. Are we ready to do the breakout rooms?
We're ready. I just wanted to say, when you come back, we're going to have a few minutes to kind of put our thoughts into the chat so that we can harvest and harness as much of your energy and interest as possible. So just to give you a little heads up that's what we're going to ask you to do so that you can be mentally preparing for that. So off you go. 10 minutes. Oh no, 20 minutes.
Here we go. Vedetta, you need some help?
No, I got knocked off, so I'm keeping my video off. South Africa, we've got some really bad networks sometimes.
Okay, but can you choose a breakout room? It has you're in some breakout room. Did you see the little pop-up that says?
No, currently it's not assigned.
Yes,
we can move it to room 3.
Room 3?
Oh.
Yeah.
You should get an invitation now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Great.
And then
Do you see it now,
room
Vedette?
3 should.
See the little
just log
invitation?
back in. Knocked off. Okay.
Here.
You see a little window,
It normally
Vedette?
comes
where you
up.
can- What?
It hasn't come up.
Well, you can stay with us, but
Hasn't come up.
it'd be nice if we could get you in a group so you can meet some other people. Anybody have any ideas about how we can help? Adrian, have you ever had this problem? Could we,
It comes up on.
I think because the internet is
oh,
very
there she got
bad.
it.
Also be back in a moment.
Okay.
Where's Louise?
Hi, Louise. We're currently in breakouts. Would you want to go into breakouts, or you can't speak? Okay, sure.
Bringing in Greta. Oh, someone else has done it. Hi, Greta.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm
Hello. It's okay. Everyone's in breakout groups at the moment, and we'll be coming back in well, about 9 minutes. So would you like to join a group?
Sure. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Let me just, how do I do this, Adrian? Oh, go to the breakout.
I can do it.
Okay, do you want to go for room 3? Oh no, you did 2. That's cool.
Did you get an invitation, Greta?
I'm sorry?
Did you get an invitation to the breakout room?
the
It should have, yeah.
Well, it says please wait to be assigned.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
it's
about
showing
now? Oh, Louise. Oh, wait, sorry. Room 2. Okay.
There we go.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Oh, thanks, Louise.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
You're on mute, Adrian.
You have the ones from the other event, right? From the other events,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
sent them.
yeah. We have those other ones.
Okay. I can send it to you now, yeah.
Good. Okay. Hmm. Oh, here's somebody new coming in. Or is this? Hi, Jenny. People are in breakout rooms right now. They're going to be coming back in a minute or two. So,
sure. I had to
so you might as
my
well just
computer went weird, so I had to rejoin. But so I just
you were in okay, you can.
yeah, but I only just I didn't really do anything because I'd only just joined when it had its issues. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, you can share with us about yourself and why you're interested in
Sure.
REM and
Yeah, well, I guess so I work in the UK in the public sector, and I'm quite interested in a lot of I guess the approaches that seem quite linked to REM, although I hadn't come across it before looking at the program. And I'm just quite interested in learning a bit more. I can't always introduce everything that I'm interested in, but I hope that in future I might be able to. So I'm just sort of learning at the moment. Yeah. But it's been
Well,
super
yeah,
interesting.
and Gemma's in UK too, and maybe you could even figure out a little chat sometime.
That'd be
Yeah,
really
really happy to
interesting.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I was at the I've been at so many events in the last few weeks. The new local event last week, and there were
Yeah.
lots of people talking about
Was
I seem to
there?
come across REM and it being used participatory practice
That's
by
interesting.
the public sector quite a lot by local authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's helpful to help me connect the dots because I know someone who works there. He worked at another organization that we like worked with. Um, so yeah, sort of finding out what spaces are doing this sort of work is really helpful. That their event looked really good last week. I saw a lot of posts on LinkedIn.
It was really
Yeah.
good. I really enjoyed it. I hadn't managed to make it in person before. It was, but I do wonder whether it gives a bit of a skewed view of how rosy the
Mm.
local authority practice is. I don't know.
Hey, I'm going to
Although-
close the rooms because it gives you
Yeah,
them
yeah.
1 minute. So just to let you
Oh,
know.
cool.
But
Oh,
we've got somebody coming who's likely to become the next PM who's been in local government and very interested in participation for you guys
Ooh,
overseas. Yeah, so it'd be really interesting.
that's
See
very
what
exciting.
happens. Yeah, and the government made a really ambitious speech about citizens and communities and all sorts at that event last week. So we'll see.
I'm doing a bunch of research and work on bringing more participation. It's part of the support ecosystem that networks need. Is a pathway to policy, I call it, and how to mobilize people for local action and policy creation. Anyway, welcome back. Seems like some other people are taking a little longer time to get back. That's great.
Not yet.
So,
that's okay.
is everybody back? Can't tell. So as we come back in, we've popped in the chat. Too many things in the chat, bear with me. What are your main takeaways as individuals from your breakout group in terms of where you want to grow with this and how collectively we might be able to pursue that? And we want to try to find out where there are kind of common themes across all of us that we can think about pursuing as the next steps. I will also pop as a reminder the questions that we originally had for those people who've joined or forgotten. So yeah, we're inviting you in the next 10 minutes to pop into the chat your sense that you've been making about where you want to go with this.
Really encouraging people to share that we need your input so that we can really figure out what some of the directions people are talking about, and we'll be using that to shape what goes forward. So just take your time and make a nice long, don't be afraid to have a nice long message.
And if you see sort of logical outgrowths of these conversations and your interest, feel free to propose those too. It's what we're going to be thinking about together a little bit later, given these interests. What should we do next? And it may be that there are various subgroups wanting to focus on different things, but the world is our oyster.
And, some of you are putting some really, general and very good challenges that people in networks are having. But, how might ripple mapping help you think about these, or get a handle on them, or figure out some ways to use it as a way to engage people? Lots of people are talking about engagement. Are you interested in how ripple effects mapping could help engage more people in the network? And, that's another thing. Could REM be used to help build trust in your network? Elizabeth, I think that's what we're saying, is that if you want to learn more about how to implement ripple effect mapping, that's what the future sessions could bring. What we're trying to do is find out. And I think that Anna is going to put links in. If you need the background information, if you missed some of the 3 previous sessions that we had, if you could, Anna will be putting, I think, some of the resources in that you would want to go through and read. Okay, Sabrina?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, I think one, especially because I've been a teacher and a student, and I know, like, unfortunately in virtual and in-person setting, they only can support a few different learning styles, which of course we know there's a ton out there. But one that always really benefits, and I know for me personally, is clearly seeing an example. And I know we had an example in the previous session, but I think one that would even be more applicable and interesting that helps us really grasp is if there was a case study that the FIDO network did on themselves of ripple mapping, because we can directly see and hear from you all your direct impact and storytellings of that. And I think no matter where we come from and what we're working on, that can very easily be translated and understood by us, because we're clearly trying to do very similar things, just slightly different rebrandings of them, if you will. But I think that would be really beneficial and also just very, very interesting to just literally see it working on something that we view as successful and also are engaging with ourselves. So
That's a really cool idea. I really like that. That's really neat. Yeah, yeah, that would be, and then all of you could actually participate in it, and we could learn by actually ripple mapping Vito's impact. That's really amazing. Okay, Darius pasted a bunch of the resources in. Thank you for doing that. And so I urge you to cut and paste those and check them all out. Any more thoughts? We'd still love to hear from a couple other people. What is it that you would like us, and I mean all of us, working together, do to help everybody implement and try out ripple effect mapping? What's going to help? So let's see if we can get a few more. Okay, Sabrina.
sorry, I just had another idea. I'm a researcher, so this stuff is always going on in my head. But I even thought of a continuation of that is you could actually have two opportunities of doing a ripple effects of, different sessions and then actually having the group come back to see how they've been able to implement it. But that would be a really great running case study for you to be able to actually see genuine progress and impact, because we actually are able to step away from it and then showcase and share our stories to be like, this is where it all started. But okay, that's enough then.
No, interesting. No, and Diane Feingood, you want to share something?
Well, yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what Sabrina said, but what my comment will be that in our conversation, one of the things that's come up in our conversation and for me is that, and this is not a criticism of you, Anna, but the very academic approach to ripple effects mapping makes it feel like there's big barriers for people who are starting up a network, who are really at the early stages of that trust building that we all know is so important in a community of practice. So I guess I'm wondering a little bit about how we can come to understand what elements of it can be used early on, how you apply it in early stage networks as well as later stage networks. Because I found that, I have this colleague who is a graphic facilitator, a graphic recorder. And when I asked him, has he used ripple effects mapping, the answer was, oh, yes, of course. And when you see his graphic recording of large conferences, you could call that a form of ripple effects mapping. But when we got to talking about the academic aspect of it, oh, well, no, I haven't worried about this of the 4 components of ripple effects mapping that you taught us about, Anna. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that trying to understand how to adapt the methodology in low barrier ways for early communities would be helpful.
Totally. And I think that's one of to my mind, it's one of the kind of themes and interests that crops up a lot is, adaptations, flexibility. The group that I was trained in, we were very clear that this is not a methodology, but a practice. And part of that is because it is somewhat modular. This is rooted in storytelling. So community storytelling apparatus, youth story, there are a million variants. It tends to use circle methods. So Art of Hosting's, the circle way and story circles and deliberative dialogue. And, there are all of these different paradigms. The appreciative nature of it tends to be the thing that, to my mind, how does ripple effects mapping make the biggest difference in terms of simultaneously planning or evaluating, so it's like objective, but while nurturing the core purposes of the network to build trust, to build relationship, to increase the visibility of our various experiences within that. Like that, the storytelling and the appreciative nature of that are incredibly powerful. And so there are a lot of people who use the different components of this. And like I map every conversation I'm in. All of my clients are like, enough with the maps. But it's really useful and people come back to them. It's not that I'm doing ripple effect mapping every time. It's just that concept mapping is super useful and not something we're that good at, you know? And so I think that, as you know, the purpose of this conversation today is to figure out what do we want more of and how can we co-design something or things that are going to help us kind of grow in those ways. That feels to me like one of the kind of touchstone themes. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. I noticed somebody else used the phrase academic rigor, which,
Yeah.
boy, can I spend time talking about that, so I won't. But the question of, I did a training for one of the World Bank funds, and it was the biggest question was the legibility of something like this to groups really focused on causality. And it's a fascinating conversation. Again, if that's an interest, then, you know, let's figure out who wants to have that conversation. How do I want to move forward? Zev, I see your hand up.
I was just kind of noticing, and I put them in the chat, kind of 3 threads that it seems like people are asking for out loud and in the chat. It seems like there's the thread around like, oh, I'm looking at what I just said in the chat, and I want to say I am working with one bad hand, so sorry, it's not as readable as
We're
I
just
meant.
thrilled you
Um,
did this, Zab. That's
um,
great that you did that.
It seems there's one around, yeah, like I can actually connect these to June's 3, that there's the adaptation or finding low barrier ways for folks who are just getting started to play with it, which it seems like there are people who might want to bring their new projects and kind of compare what they're doing. There's using REM to plan ahead as opposed to just to look back. And then there's this desire for like practical skills, which are some of, I think maybe some of June's things, like the Fido example training that could fall under doing kind of what are the
Yes.
breaking down the skills into smaller bites. So I could see subgroups forming, which is always exciting.
That's great. Anybody see another category emerging out there? I really like Zev's. And I do think that mine the only other one is, practical skills drills. That could be FITO, it could be a training. You know, that one is kind of a big bucket. Any other thoughts? Gemma and Anna, did you pull out any?
I mean, my
I've just been
problem is
taking
that
notes.
yeah. And my problem is that I see how these things are all braided together. So for example, ripple effects mapping as a practice for strategic planning, for strategic foresight, for, you know, thinking ahead in these various ways. There are purists who argue that that's not actually ripple effects mapping. It's just using some of the modular components of the, you know, the techniques to do something different. That's not a hair I'm super interested in splitting, and I use it that way all the time. And that conversation then is very much about how we use the skills and practices of the different components of this. So there's a way in which these are all one big conversation about really what are the hands-on pieces of this practice and how do we use them for different purposes with different groups. That may not be helpful if folks among us have a very specific, like, this is my question. I would go to like 2 or 3 sessions in order to get a really good handle on this one thing. So I don't, yeah, we need you, I guess, to tell us what's going to feel the most valuable for you. And baked into that, we're going to talk about this a little bit more. Baked into that is a question, not just of what you might show up to if we offer it, but what you might be interested in leading or organizing or partnering to organize. Because one of our challenges as a group, June is starting to crack up because we've been for what, a year now, roughly, the three of us and two other colleagues meeting with some regularity. And this is just, it's a volunteer effort for us because we all really believe in ripple effect mapping. And so we want to get the word out. And speaking for myself, I'm heading into a really big crunch. And so my capacity to be like, yeah, let's do some stuff for fun as a volunteer is diminishing dramatically, which makes me sad, but it is what it is. So we would love to see some leaders emerge from among you to either join our little group or start a little group of your own and support some of this work moving forward.
Cobus, maybe you could explain a little bit about your items and how they fit with the ripple effect mapping.
Yeah, sure, Jean. I think it's just some helpful ways to think about the kind of sessions you could have, right? If you take ripple effect mapping as your frame or as the perspective that you take, like to have a couple of sessions where you practice using it. You can use different contexts. I love what Sabrina said earlier about applying it together and then breaking it into groups to see what you've learned from applying it to your specific case. You could try building something, experimenting. Maybe with put a proposal together to potential client together. I don't know. That could be one thing. And then another one would be maybe if you are an existing practitioner, consult the community on a challenge you're having with applying it with that group of people. So that could be another sort of type of event a type of format that you could have within the community. But it obviously always starts, I think, with network and discuss, because you obviously want to first build trust and get to know everybody, and then see what I kind of feel we're doing now is discussing, but it can naturally lead to these other three later on as the energy evolves. So it's a little bit more generic, but I just think it's a helpful frame to, I think, look at community of practice design at.
Yeah.
Okay, Scott, and then we're going to need to figure out what breakout rooms we're going to have.
Okay, yeah, I can just go real quick. The idea of we call it sense making back in the day, right? So when we have these nourishing group meetings, what we've basically done is we've gotten kind of rid of Robert's Rules of Order, right? And we developed a way of meeting, the Nourishing Network way. And part of that is to do the collective sense making process and so one of the things, we don't do a lot of whiteboarding and sticky notes because it impeded in the actual flow of the conversations. So what we do is we have people called moderators or facilitators that are in the group that kind of already understand these ideas, right? And so then they take that like what you're talking about above, you get that. We always have a real problem in the room that people are doing and thinking about and collectively deciding this is a problem in our community that we want to try to solve. So how are we going to do that? The community of practice is actually involved in the work itself. And so then that results in some projects that actually happen, multi-agency collaborations, all kinds of groups networks of networks getting together that wouldn't have ever done that before, but now they're doing that and they're solving a problem a certain way. So what I try to do then is track how that happened. And then I get those notes from the people in the group. And so we have meeting notes and things like that thank God for AI that does a really great job of doing that now. But because nourishers never write anything down, they always just keep moving on to the next action that they want to do. So we've employed the concepts of what you got of REM into our meeting group. And so we just kind of let the flow of the meeting happen.
That's really, that's my kind of thing. Yeah, I really like that, to put the learning in everywhere. Okay, Gemma, what do you think? I picked out 5. If you look in the chat, I kind of pulled together 5 different topics, but I'm not, and you know, you can look at them. That, let's see, they are okay, you're putting some in the
So
doc.
you've got ZEVS 3. I was just noting everything in the doc for now.
ZEVS 3, which
ZEVS 3, one on increasing participation and one on a classic.
one on, like, how can you use several? You mentioned wanting to increase participation in your networks, and you can do REM in a way that really gets a lot of people in your network involved. That might be interesting. And the last one was more about a more classic community of practice, which is the things that Cobus, is that right, Cobus? That he described. Those kinds of things are in a more classic community of practice. And so, but Anna, what were you thinking?
So
Did you have
am I?
anything different?
Yes, sorry, I'm in the document. I just needed to make sure I was on mute. The link to our planning doc. Sorry, I have really lousy internet, and so everything is extremely slow. I'm going to drop this in here for you all. I am putting, and these could be right or wrong, so feel free to modify as needed. But I have put what I think I am hearing in this document. And the first is general ripple effects mapping skill building. The second is REM for early stage trust building.
Okay, go a little bit slower. Okay,
do you want to share your screen?
What?
Sure, happy.
I was just thinking it might help for people to see it visually. That's all. If you share the screen.
Me?
Yeah, you've got the Google Doc
Oh,
up.
can you get the Google Doc there? And
She put the link in the chat as well.
oh, okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Now, so would you put the skill building with regular community of practice kind of thing?
Well, that's the interesting, again,
thanks, Erica.
To my mind, these things all fold together in really valuable ways. I also recognize that part of the reason that I'm thinking that way is my own sound crunch. And the more groups we have, the more facilitators we need. We need people to take responsibility for each of these groups. So one reason that we designed this document this way is in order to give people a chance to put their name next to, you know, this is the thing I'm really invested in, and I would like to be a lead, a partner, or a follower in this. These are components, sort of network goals that Carrie Munn, our colleague who's part of this group, uses in their work with as circle generation and their network development practice. And it's just an enormously useful way to think about, you know, signed up for this group, now what? Does that mean I need to organize meetings? But if you can claim, I know that I only am going to be a follower in this group, so somebody else set it up, but by all means, put me on the list because I definitely want to show. It's really useful because we may have, you know, 3 of these where no one is stepping up to lead them, which is really an indication that no one feels, you know, strongly enough, probably, maybe, to move that forward. So the fourth one I was just going to add, I think REM for the FITO network, as an example, is part of, tell me if I'm mishearing, but I heard the call for live examples and sort of more practice of ripple effects mapping. I dropped the note in the chat that for me, that was actually one of the most useful things. I was still working at Cornell when we did this training, and there was a group of us who were very excited about it, and we became this kind of roving band of ripple effects mappers. And so pity the poor, nonprofit organizations in our community who are all like, ripple mapped to within an inch of their lives. But it was really useful because there were tons of organizations that were saying, we've been longing for a participatory, celebratory kind of evaluation that will help us harvest some of these beautiful stories that we're just not able to get. And here we would show up and do it for free because for us, it was terrific practice, in honing our skills. And so that might be something that members of this group would be interested in. And I guarantee you it would be very helpful.
Great. So it looks like we have a nice list of 4, and maybe you could explain, I'm not sure who, Anna or Gemma, how we're going to go forward here in some time in breakout rooms, you can choose whichever one you're interested in helping us plan. And you can show where to take notes on that and such.
So the plan was sorry, go ahead, Anna.
No, I was actually going to propose to modify the plan ever so slightly because we have this up now, and the link is that you're probably going to do the exact same thing, aren't you? It might be simplest if people want to go ahead and go into the Google Doc here and drop your name. I guess it's easiest if you stick your email in there as well. And what role you would like to play in this, because this can help us get a sense of, are these even the right groups? And please do speak up. If there's something you really want to learn or share or, chew on with people and it doesn't fit under one of these, by all means, let us know, because you're probably not the only one. This is always a very imperfect distillation.
One thing to think about,
Thank you.
if I could add one comment to that, on number 2, can it be early stage and late stage? It's kind of bizarre because in this work, I mean, in June, you go back to the 80s and all the work that you've been doing. So it's been evolving, right? And you're constantly learning. So it's kind of always early stage, right? But in the Nourishing Network groups, we've been following June's work since 2011. And network weaving and doing a lot of this work and sense making for a long time now. And it's really evolved into some really great practices. So there's kind of a sense of there's the early stage of the people that are just joining in a Nourishing Network group, but what's some late stage stuff we could do? Or later stage?
I think that's good. I think it's mainly about like how to use it as trust building, network development, increasing participation. I think those are the things that are really key there. And you can put yourself in more than one. But when we get into breakout rooms, you will have to make a decision. But like I put myself in 2 in my usual, probably overcommitting, but excited about, I love the idea about REM for planning ahead or seeing patterns or strategy.
Very joyful.
But then I think that thing about using REM for Fido is brilliant and just would be a fun process to do.
Well, and Fido is a great example. Yeah.
Of like all kinds of things, impacts that it's had that like nobody's really following.
Exactly.
I'm so sorry I joined late because I registered late because I didn't realize that the time zone difference. And so I'm Lizzie Caston. I'm an old economic community urban development pro that got this through my network, but I just jumped on. So I'm like, I'd love to participate. I don't know where the link is for this Google. She.
Okay, we'll put it back in the chat.
Thank you. I'm
And,
so
and you
sorry.
can hop on.
Yeah.
But just to review and just everybody, love to see everybody sign up. You know, just do you want, we're thinking about the future and what you would really like to help make happen. And one is ripple effects mapping skill building. Another one is just like using it for trust building, network development, increasing participation. The third was for planning ahead, seeing patterns and strategy, using it that way, as well as an evaluative tool. And then the final one is, can we help organize a FITO network REM so we can both get a chance to practice and really understand how REM works. And it'd be a great thing for FITO to understand all the incredible impacts it's had. So you choose one of those, and we're going to be going in breakout rooms here real shortly, I believe, where you're
Did you
going
put
to.
it, sorry, did you put it back into the chat? Because I don't have it. I'm so sorry. I feel like the disruptive child.
No,
in the-
no,
I'll do it now.
Leslie,
Okay.
no, you're standing up for yourself. Did somebody
Yeah,
put it
no,
in the
I
chat?
don't want
I'm
to
doing it
participate,
now.
right?
Doing it now.
Yeah.
Doing
Let's
it
see
now.
it.
There we go.
Nope. Oh, yep, there, got it. Thank you. Excellent. Thanks.
Okay, well, can somebody tell the questions that we're going to be pursuing?
I can do that. Bear with me just a second. So, we are going to break into groups and think about the potential under each of the themes, and think about what could be tried out in 3 months in the autumn as part of the ongoing FITO strand. What minimal coordination or support would make it viable. And there's some kind of prompts there around attendance, topics, leading discussions, making connections, and then who might hold or host that thread, steward it, think about timelines and how we engage. So I'm putting those in the chat. We also want to say that we have had 3 sessions so far, and a 4th session that we had initially in March. And we wanted to, we will be trying to engage with everybody who's been involved thus far as well. So we're not expecting it all to be, supported or nurtured by the people here. So yeah, just to make that really clear, we're hoping that there'll be other people who are interested in working on this too. And quite a few people have dropped off the call as well, so we'll get as far as we can. So yeah, Greta, welcome. You're not late to the party. Maybe it's only just beginning. Who knows?
Are we ready to open
We're
up
ready
the
for the
rooms
groups.
and see? So basically, you know, you've kind of signed up here, but when you, I'm going to open the rooms, and then you're going to see a window where you can put yourself in any one of these 4 rooms. And then you have the set of questions in the chat. I think each of us are also going to go to one. I want to go to the planning one. Is that okay, guys? We'll each pick one, and we'll be taking notes on the sessions as well. Okay, I'm opening the rooms right now, and you just put yourself in whatever. You click on your name, and then you assign to, and you get to pick the 4 that you the one of the 4. Okay.
Sorry, June, I may have missed the instructions. Are we taking notes somewhere what our groups kind of come up with? Is there a place?
Yes.
Yes. Can you add that link once more into the chat, someone?
Is there a separate one? Hold on, bear with me. Is there a separate note for this?
We can just
Well,
stick it
just
at the-
Just put it
do
in
the
this
one
group,
this one,
in the
and
one
then
that we've
we'll
got.
each
I'll
take
just do that
notes where
again.
we want.
Doing it now. Bear with me.
Oh, why is it not showing my name?
There we go.
It doesn't
because it's
have
you.
because it's
Can we allocate you?
No,
well, I
all
don't
you
see-
would have to do, you would just click join whichever one
Oh, I
So
see.
I'm gonna
Yes, I
join
just joined. I'm
early
going to join the
stage.
planning one. Okay. Oh, yes, I see. Okay.
I think that would have been your one anyway.
Okay. Okay. See everybody soon.
Does anyone need a hand getting into any of the groups?
Yeah, I really have no idea how to get in here. And I use Zoom all day long,
Okay.
so I'm
That's
very
okay.
confused. And I
So
apologize again for
can you,
coming.
if you go into more along the bottom, have you got breakout rooms, or there's also a more
Join
Three
breakout
doors.
toolbox
rooms.
with
Yeah, I
more?
see it.
Yeah,
I
there you
got
go.
it.
And then you pick,
Thank you.
yeah, pick quick the number that you want to join.
Also, it's very early where I am, and I am
No, don't
with.
worry.
I apologize.
Anyone else need a hand?
Gemma, maybe it makes more sense for me to join the using RAM and Fito, and
Sure,
then
sure. You do that, and I'll
choose
go
the
to
skill
which one hasn't got
building.
anyone in. Skill building's fine. I'm the
Yeah.
least. Okay, that's cool. Okay, I'll see you. So I need to do number 1. Where have I gone? I don't want to be. How do I join?
Here we are.
Oh, that was so fun.
We were in the middle of a sentence and got bounced on our breakout
I'm
room.
sorry. It does
Okay.
it does it automatically.
Hey,
Okay,
Zach, why don't we reach out separately and we can
Mhm.
can continue that conversation somehow? It got cut off. Cool. All right.
Yeah, I think we're gonna probably do that too, right? Greta and Mark and Anna and Priya and
Mhm.
so yeah, terrific.
Okay, I think we're still waiting for a
Thank
few
you,
people to
everyone.
come
Yeah.
back. Like especially where's some of our, oh, there's Anna. Gemma, okay, you're here. Who's taking over here?
It's
So
Anna.
I was going to ask what people heard in these groups.
Well, I was super excited to hear that two of the people in our group are actually trying out a REM process that's going to include sort of planning strategy. So that was really exciting to hear.
Yeah.
I
Our group,
couldn't come to, oh, I was gonna say real quick, June, I couldn't come to your planning session because I wanted to go to the other one, but we're doing that also in Nourishing Networks to plan ahead.
Okay,
So
yeah, we're going to be reaching out. We'll be reaching
Yeah.
out to you and others.
yeah. I was just going to say the thing that I heard the most was a desire to keep connecting with one another and keep learning who is doing what and why and how. And the amount of cross-fertilization just in those few minutes was really rich and valuable. So, and Adrian, you have some things to say. Is this your wrap up, Adrian? No, not quite yet. Okay, go for it.
And I want to say, you know, one thing that I'm willing to do is, you know, if I can get the notes from the others of you, you know, we can send out summaries of our 4 different conversations to everybody. We're trying to make an email list of everybody who's come to all these sessions, and we're going to be hopefully in the next week or so sending that out. And we can, if we can get the summaries of these sessions, we'll send that out. We'll send the references out again, and just some, so that'll be some thoughts of what we're going forward. I know our group is going to meet again, and you know, hopefully some of the rest of you too. So this is just the beginning. So, Adrian.
Yeah, just to harvest also from our group, because Sabrina and Corpus made a point around like maybe mapping the FITO network as an example to understand RAM better. I don't want to promise anything of like, oh yeah, like let's do that or we can do it. I mean, we're still shaping up, but I mean, the main argument that I liked is maybe we are going through our RAM process together. So we are somewhat being facilitated. We have an embodied experience, but also we have like a shared context within FITO. I think everybody of you can speak to at least some ripple effects within FITO and how that impacted your life. And then like if we could combine that like specific application with like some kind of skill transfer, right? So like we're experiencing it ourselves through FITO, shared container, and then we're kind of stepping back and saying like, okay, what kind of skills did we observe in the facilitator? You know, like what are we learning on a meta level in terms of like how this process is being done? And then there's also time and space to say like, okay, how do we now take this to our own networks, right? So because like you also want to facilitate RAM processes, right? So like, what did we learn from this particular session and how can we apply it to our own network? Like that might be a possibility, and it might give us like an anchor, because like I think we're looking at these experiments being relatively lean and like, you know, just starting to get going and not building like this huge massive community of practice that then becomes a bit too intangible. So if we have like some kind of anchor and then we can transfer the learning into your respective networks, that might be a possibility. So just naming that.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Adrian, I think you do have more to say in a closing, yes?
Can I just add one thing?
We have 4 minutes left. I'd love to hear from the other group. We heard from my group, Adrian's group. Is there?
So my group was the the first group that was focusing on the kind of the skills. I think the key takeaway point is that if we're going to have, we need to keep bringing new people into the community if that's what we're going to end up doing. And so that kind of the ongoing access to the learning of what is REM and how might we apply it, and actual active learning opportunities seems to be important. So I think that's something that we need to give some more thought to. And we pointed out that Anna will be doing some another session with Carrie's group, Circle Generation. So how do we think about how do we ensure that has active kind of learning opportunities within it, or to follow it up, or what have you? I think, does that make sense?
Was there one more group? But the one about on participation and their trust building? Whose group was that?
I don't trust you with what they talked about.
Yeah, I'm not sure who, if there's anybody in that, but okay, so maybe we're ready to wrap up.
So I had one question because I'm
Yeah.
so late on all this, and this is my first session and one of the third. Are there any recordings of previous sessions or this session so that I can go back? And how can I tap into those?
We're going to send out a gigantic email here in the next week or so, and it will have all the links in it for you to see
Very
those sessions. There's a really good handbook on that, and so we'll be trying to get that out real soon.
Thank you
And
so
Annie,
much.
Annie, you have a great video on that already. If you posted that, that might, like you showed for the very first session.
Yep. Yeah, so
Very
there's
good.
an introduction that's in the list of links in the chat if you have access to that, and then a few resource documents that I created to help people in designing their own REM sessions and teaching appreciative interviewing, a sort of a sample agenda. And Carrie Munn and I were talking about me doing an actual training on how to do ripple effects mapping through Circle Generation at some point. So not sure when that might happen, but you will know if it does.
I put some links in the chat
Oh,
again,
great.
Lizzie.
That's
So
wonderful. Thank
you
you.
should have that. I'm not sure if I got all of them, but because somebody else got a whole, yeah, okay. There might be another one. Oh, here's another one. This may have some repeats in it, but I'll put this one in too, so everybody has that. Okay, great. Well, how about a big hurrah and just, let's wave goodbye to everybody, and maybe the panelists, so to speak, could stay on for a minute afterwards. So take care. Have a
Just
wonderful week.
wait. Just before we leave,
Adrian.
one more thing. So the Networks Festival is ending end of June, right? So we just have like a couple of sessions left, and it's gonna be like 2 to 3 months until more stuff is happening on ripple effects mapping, as we've discussed today. So if you're hungry for more and you want to have like a longer space, so here's the remaining festival sessions, and then we have these smaller peer groups starting actually next week and the week after. Those are going to be 4 sessions in smaller groups. It's really also organized around practical challenges that you face in your community as a network. So the topics are decolonization, equity, playfulness and embodiment, shared stewardship and engagement, equitable evaluation, which might be relevant for this group, and then also resourcing networks, so both financially and non-financially. So those 5 groups, they're going to start again next week. We still have like a couple of spots left if you want to join a peer group over the next month while you wait for the RIM engagement. So yeah, with that, also wanting to thank you all for showing up, and also June, Gemma, Anna, also Carrie, who's not here, and Adina, thanks for holding the RIM track. And then see you in the network. Yeah, thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And Adrian, June, and Gemma, I'm sorry I have to hop off too, but we will be in touch. I have no
Yes.
doubt. All right.
Okay, okay,
Bye. Bye.
okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye, bye-bye. Well,
Bye.
my group was great. They volunteered to set stuff up and everything. Oh, it's
Who
great.
says? Oh, that's both yours. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.